Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 15th anniversary, and it's from a band that, well, I don't really like them anymore. When I do listen to them, it's mostly from their first couple records when they had their old singer. And yeah, I know a lot of people are probably going to give me shit for this, but I really don't give a fuck. I like this album. And as you can see below the title, we're going to be talking about 1X by 3 Days Grace. This is the band's second album, released on June 13th, 2006 through Jive Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with 3 Days Grace, they're a rock band from Canada. They formed in 1997. This is just me just knowing from what I heard on Wikipedia. Yeah, they're from Canada. And they've pretty much had some success during this time period, especially their previous album, which came out in 2003, which was self-titled. And then here we are 3 years later, which a lot of people, or bands, when they have like a sophomore album, like it's always a lot of pressure because their debut does do so well, and there's like a lot of pressure to follow up for this. And with this album, 1X, and as you can see, I have a copy signed by the original lineup from when I actually won it from a thing on eBay. Anyway, 1X I definitely think was really what made 3 Days Grace, or really what got them big at that time. I remember hearing about this album back when I was like in 6th, 7th grade, and this was like one of those albums, especially around that time, between that and of course Phobia by Breaking Benjamin, which I was also going to be 15, so be on the lookout for a review of that. I feel like that was just like the biggest hype and albums, and they were like on top of the world at this time, and this was a really successful album, and a lot of people consider this to be 3 Days Grace's best album. I definitely have to say so. It's really good, especially for my inner 12-13-year-old self. It definitely really has like a lot of those angsty moments, especially like in the lyrics, like talking about like suicide, depression, and drug addiction and all this shit. Let's just talk right into the vocals. The production is just fantastic. Everything is where it needs to be. And the vocal work from former vocalist Adam Gontier. And I honestly think he was the best vocalist. And I really hate that he's not in the band. I mean, I dreaded watching them live a couple years ago when they played with Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle. I really wish I could have seen them live when they had Adam in the band. And for you who are wondering, there's always those group of fans that say they only prefer Adam, Dumb, and I am those fans, because after their fourth album, I pretty much stopped listening to anything they put out after that. But anyway, Adam, I feel like he puts so much like emotion into his singing, and like just the way he just conveys like his lyrics and everything. It just really makes you relate to it, and it just really puts a lot of feeling into his voice. And then just from the instrumentation side, the guitar work from Barry is solid. Comes up with some really great riffs, and just the tone on this album is pretty heavy, and then there's some softer moments, and I love how it just blends like soft and heavy. The bass playing is pretty audible. Brad's bass definitely goes well with Barry's guitar playing, and the drumming from Neil Sanderson. He definitely keeps a solid beat with the song. Pretty much keeps everybody all in time. So yeah, I pretty much rambled on for almost 4 minutes, so let's just dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is It's All Over. It's a really interesting way to start things off. The intro is kind of a little bit trippy. I don't even know what it is, but then it just goes right into it. It really just like that whole weird intro just fits really well. I feel like lyrically it talks about a song hitting rock bottom and being addicted to drugs. I really think it's a pretty interesting way to start off this album. It starts off a little bit weird, but then it just goes right into it. And then we go into Pain. Now, Pain is actually one of the first few singles that we hear from this album, and it's great. And I feel like Adam's vocal delivery is top notch, and the instrumentation works really well. There's some like heavy moments, and then the verses kind of sound really kind of quiet, and then the chorus just kicks in and it just goes, pain without love, pain can't get enough, pain, I like it rough because I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all. And I feel like this song just talks about being sick of the consequences of your actions, and then the struggle just seems a lot real here. Yeah. And then we move on to Animal I've Become, which is another single from this album. And this song is a slightly heavier song, and this is actually the only moment where you actually hear like a solid bass on this. And it has a great bass. I feel like Brad has a good bass tone on this. I don't even know what kind of bass he uses, so if anybody knows, let me know in the comments, and just like the tone and everything. But anyway, if Animal I've Become, like I said, it's like a heavier song, and I feel like it talks about like the effects that drug addiction can have on you. It makes you feel like a monster on the inside and have all these demons in you. And Adam's vocals are really great, and the instrumentation matches the song perfectly, and it just works so well. Well, if you were to make a song like this, just ripping off and just speeding up this melody and the way it goes for people. But anyway, I think it's another great song, and this is definitely one of the highlights of this album. And then we slow things down a little bit with the song Never Too Late, which is actually one of 3 Days Grace's most popular songs. And I feel like lyrically this song talks about feeling like, as from what I heard Adam say, feeling like you want to give up on everything, feeling like the world is hard on you, but really it's not about giving up at all, despite all the hardships and things in life. And Adam's vocal delivery is really great, and it just matches the tone and just the song's instrumentation. And this is, like, my opinion, probably the best song on the album for me, and one of my favorite 3 Days Grace songs overall. And this is a much listen for everybody, but it just has some really great lyrics, like even if I say it'll be all right, even if I say don't end your life. But really, while it does seem hard at times, it definitely has a great sense of like I guess like a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. But anyway, moving on to the next song called On My Own, which this is a song that I didn't even know much about, but this song feel like it talks about a story about realizing that you made mistakes and not letting it dictate your future. And then you realize that you screw up your relationship, but instead of sulking in the pain, you chose to pick yourself up and start anew. And I think it's a really beautiful way to write the song, and just the guitar work for Barry, and then Adam's vocals go in well with sort of like Brad's bass work and Neil's drums, and it's just being perfect. And if you've been through like a hardships in a relationship, and you like rock music, and this song is for you, and it's a really great song. And then we get to Riot. Now, Riot, in my opinion, is the heaviest song on this album, and this is actually a perfect song to listen to if you're feeling angry and pissed off. And this song feels like it talks about rioting against sort of like the shitty things in life. And Adam's voice just really sounds really angry here, and the instrumentation is, like I mentioned, the heaviest song in the album, which is really fitting. And this is actually one of the few songs that you hear profanity from 3 Days Grace sing so pissed off or so fucked up and everything. But overall, Riot, another great song. Then it sort of like slows things down again with the next song called Get Out Alive, which is a slightly slower song. And this song kind of like talks about like the dangers of drug addiction, and Adam's voice just matches the instrumentation yet again. And this song has a little bit more atmospheric to it, and it's a really unique song for 3 Days Grace. And then we move on to Let It Die. Now I feel like this is a pretty good song, has some really great instrumentation, great vocals from Adam, and I feel like this song talks about like a relationship that the speaker is trying to end, and it has a good message. Next up is Over and Over. Now this is pretty much where Adam's vocals show a soft side again, and right off the bat, knowing my experience, I feel like this song kind of like talks about having deep feelings for someone and not having those feelings return. And then the fact that the feelings aren't returned causes depression, making the days drag on. But overall, I think it's a good song, a good message, and I think Adam's voice just sounds really great, as well as like the instrumentation behind it. Time of Dying's up next. Now this song has like the best guitar intro and the build up to the song I've heard in a long time, and the lyrics I feel like talk about or directed towards someone that truly cares about the victim and loves them. And this song could refer to one person actually making a difference in the victim's life, and overall has some really great instrumentation. And just I love like the chorus in the song, I will not die, I'll wait here for you. I just think that 3 Days Grace also has really great choruses and just catchy lyrics overall. Next up is Gone Forever. Now this is the second song, which has a little bit of acoustic guitars next to Never Too Late. And it just works so well with acoustic work and then electric as well, so the drums go perfectly into the chorus line. I just think, I don't know, good song. And then we close things out with 1X, the title track, and it's a pretty strong or bold way to end this album. It sort of like talks about like a misfit finding his place in the world along like other people, and this song is great with like the vocals and instrumentation, and then the backing vocals really add to the song. I feel like it's a great finisher and a great song in its own right. Now overall, 1X by 3 Days Grace is a really good album, still a standout in their catalog, and it still holds up 15 years later. So if I had to give this album a score, I'm going to give 1X by 3 Days Grace a solid 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. What do you guys think about the album now, 15 years later? Do you still have the same thoughts as you did now? Or do you still love it, or is it toned down slightly? So let me know in the comments, and thank you guys for watching. And this is actually three-part review. I'll actually have 2 other reviews I'm going to upload after this, so be on the lookout for that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it metal.